that's fine. Just-
Alderman Catalano, absent. Alderman Currielli.
Here.
Alderman Jacobs.
Here.
Alderman Meeks. Here. Alderman Woods.
Here.
Alderman Messina.
Here.
Alderman Sismarski.
Here.
Mayor, please.
First, I need approval of minutes of the meeting, June 9th, 2022, for Public Health Safety Committee minutes.
I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have a report recommendation, we have a report for, a request for an additional class GS liquor license. By motion.
That's your motion?
Second.
Chief.
Sure, I'll give you a brief overview. As you know, the city council does not keep any open liquor licenses. The new owner of the Shell gas station at 110 East Irving has already purchased the business, and they're looking to add the liquor license Class GS, which is specifically tailored for gas station uses. If council or if committee decides to open up a license, we will bring that forward to city council next week, and then we'll complete the background check on the applicant. The applicant is here, Mr. Rakesh Kumar Patel is here, so if you do have any questions for him, but other than that, pretty straightforward request here.
Do we have any questions for Alderman Jacobs?
Did they not ask for one in the past, or was that a different gas station? I thought.
So it was the same gas station, but there was a different proposed owner in the past. This is a different gentleman who did actually purchase it, and the sale has already closed.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments, questions? You don't need a roll call on that, do you? Roll call vote?
Alderman Sismarski.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
Alderman Haynes.
Yes.
Alderman Jacobs.
Yes.
Alderman Currielli.
Yes.
Carries. Additional, anybody have any items for consider for future meetings? Having none, we motion for adjournment.
Second.
All those opposed? Or
All in favor?
Sorry,
All in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, we're adjourned.
I'd like to call the Public Works Committee meeting to order. Note taker, please note the same people are in attendance. Up first, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes from July 14th.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any that passes. Next up, report and recommendation. I have three of them. The first is an approval of an agreement between the City of Wooddale and R.W. Dunham & Company for the fiscal year 2023 pavement patching and crack sealing program in an amount not to exceed $183,810. That would be my motion.
Second.
Great. And it sounds like Director Lang has a small presentation.
For this, I'll just give a brief overview. This is our yearly patching and crack sealing program, part of our preventive maintenance measures for our roadway. Typically, we budget $150,000 for patching and $35,000 for crack sealing, so you can see the low bid came in just under the budgeted amount.
Any questions? Mayor?
This is separate from the road resurfacing, correct?
Correct, yes.
Just, okay.
Any other questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Currielli.
Yes.
Alderman Jacobs.
Yes.
Alderman Ames.
Yes.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes. All
Alderman Sismarski.
Yes.
right, and that passes. Next up, an approval of an agreement between the City of Wooddale and United Door and Lock LLC for the utility buildings door replacement project, Utility buildings door replacement project in an amount not to exceed $21,289. Right. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Great. Any questions?
I have one question.
Alderman Woods?
Yeah. Which building is the utility building?
Good question, Director.
So it's several of our pump stations and well houses, Potter Station,
Okay.
Sarah Well House.
Thank you.
Great. Alderman Jacob?
Do we have any program or anything where to maintain the doors? Because I noticed even at the train station, they may need to be like sanded and,
Director Lang?
Yeah, no active program specifically for doors, just part of our regular, facility maintenance, preventative maintenance measures.
okay. They look like pretty old doors, so.
Are you proposing a preventative maintenance program? No. Oh, okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I guess roll call, since we have an amount, please.
Alderman Currielli.
Yes.
Alderman Jacob.
Yes.
Alderman Ames. Yes. Alderman Woods.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes,
Alderman Sismarski.
Yes.
and that passes. And finally, fiscal year 2023 streetlight installation. I believe Director Lang has a presentation on that.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. So last September, the council directed staff to revise the streetlight policy to proactively install streetlights in the absence of viable petitions. We've selected a number of locations this year since we did not receive any petitions for approval by the council. So there's the wording that was in the policy revision, just reiterating what I just said. Staff selection criteria that we use, obviously we want to address areas without any existing lighting. We prefer to use existing control cabinets to keep costs low. We like to focus on residential or highly trafficked areas. We think it's logical to take past petition areas into consideration since there's obviously some desire for streetlights in those locations. We had originally intended to avoid areas that are identified as low to moderate income because those are eligible for community block grant funding. But as we don't expect there to be a call for project in the next few years, we propose to include those areas in the annual program as well. So the areas selected for this year for approval by the committee, so choose Murray Drive between Wooddale Road and South Cedar, Urban between Mill and Prospect, and Gilbert between Mill and just east of Brookwood Drive. In all, it will be 16 new aluminum poles with LED fixtures, which is our city standard. The actual location along the street would be in coordination with existing public and private infrastructure. The service lines will be directionally bored. As I said before, we'd like to use existing control boxes, but given existing loads, it may be required that we install new control boxes, which can affect the cost. And our estimated probable cost for this project is $164,000. We've budgeted $100,000 in the capital program, and there's an additional $60,000 which was made available through a capital grant allocation from the state of Illinois that could be used for streetlights as well.
Quick question, does this include the electrical?
Yes, so this includes the installation of the streetlights and the power supply.
Alderman Sismarski?
Yeah, first, can you go back to the street? What are the, okay, I see city and ComEd, what are the purple or the new ones you're?
The purple are the
putting in?
proposed streetlights, blue are existing ComEd, and the, if you call that pink, is the existing.
So in my ward, majority of them are all wood poles, you'll be putting in, if I get some in my area, you'll do aluminum poles be going?
Yeah, the wood poles that we see are typically what ComEd installs. The city standard is 16-foot aluminum poles.
Any follow-ups? Mayor?
And so being that we're gonna be doing this continuously, we're gonna rotate wards just like we do tree trimming, I take it, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Alderman Jacob?
Couple quick questions. The streetlights, they include all the labor and materials, the 164,000?
That's the estimate of probable cost, yes, including labor, materials, installation.
Okay. And I know we've talked about ornamental lighting. How many if we wanted to go to ornamental lighting, what would that how many lights could we put in if we went ornamental lighting?
Director.
That was included as an unfunded item in the CIP last year, and from my understanding, the council wanted to hold off on those. They had previously identified some areas where they may want to install prairie fixtures, but the focus for the new streetlights were just for the standard aluminum pole in residential areas, was my understanding.
Any more questions?
Just one. The pole that is chosen, the aluminum pole, that's like a standard pole that's constantly made. We're not gonna have different poles all over the city?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
It's IDOT standard pole, right?
That's typically what you see in residential areas. They're not the decorative black prairie fixtures that you see along Wooddale Road. And if we're installing them ourselves, we wouldn't use ComEd's utility poles. Typically, we would install a new pole.
The idea is if they're hit, they go down really quickly, right? Isn't that what I read or
Correct,
heard?
yeah.
Okay,
They're on
break,
breakaway
there you go,
basis, yeah.
breakaways, okay. Did you follow, okay, Alderman Ames?
So when you say it's the probable cost, is it going out for bid, or is this being installed by a contractor that's already been identified?
So the way the policy was written is that staff presents the locations to the committee first, and then if the committee agrees, then staff will go out to bid for these locations. So this is pricing that's based on recent bids that we've received.
Follow?
So is this something that we're anticipating putting in this year? I mean, I don't know how long the bid process will take and, you know, with timing and the season. like
Yes,
when-
yeah, we anticipate that this would be done in fiscal year '23.
Okay, so
Money
it
is
could be
budgeted for
this,
it in fiscal year
or early
'23.
next.
We would put it out to bid immediately upon your approval and get bids back and look for the installation as soon as possible.
okay, thank you.
Alderman Jacob?
When you made the considerations for these, did you check with PD to see if there was any places that they really saw a need for it?
We regularly consult with PD based, on issues that are safety related. They usually are the ones to raise those concerns, so there's no other areas that we've identified that are in need for safety reasons.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Sismarski?
Yeah, I noticed, how many total are you put on, just those 4?
16.
There's 16 in total, 4 on Erman, 4 on Murray, and 8 along Gilbert.
So what happens in Alderman Ames' ward, mine, is we don't have ones missing like that. Ours are sporadic, so you would be putting an aluminum pole in between where it's long stretches of the street with no light.
Yeah, we looked at Ward 4, and it seems that all of the intersections are lit. So if we were to do mid-block lighting, if it makes more sense to do wood poles to stay uniform.
I'm saying it
There's
looks kind of goofy if you had all wood. I mean, I know Orman in this area is pretty well all aluminum poles in the area, so I get it, but in my ward is, our ward is not.
Yeah, we certainly take that into consideration for future years.
Do we
This,
still need, I'm sorry.
I was just, might help you, go ahead,
Do we
finish it
still
up.
need consent from a property owner to get the pole put on their property if that's where they want the light
We can install anything within the right-of-way
within the right of way?
for public safety especially.
Okay.
And just to be clear, this doesn't, this is separate from the other process we have where a homeowner can get a petition signed and come to us and request a street pole installation, right?
Correct, yes. Homeowners can still petition for streetlights, and those streets will be prioritized and included into the program each year.
And remind us, what's that budget amount for that program?
So it's all out of the same pool,
Same amount? Okay.
just the petition streets would be prioritized.
Okay. Mayor?
So we used to do 30,000,
Yeah.
and we had a lot of residents that wouldn't, you guys did the surveys, and unfortunately on the block, people didn't respond, you got people yelling at you. So we took it upon ourselves to start putting them up, and we budgeted 100,000, right? But the extra 60 is from, so we're taking the initiative.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, we will get some calls from people who get them in front of their houses, but they're being spaced out per the codes, whatever, what is it, 250 feet or something?
It's not to exceed 300 feet.
Yeah.
So same bucket of money, just two separate programs.
Maybe a
Right.
second on that.
Yeah. What's that?
Yeah, just the only reason I asked that is because our street, streets in Ward 4 are stretched out longer. You've seen that, their lights may not even be there, like the half block is empty. So that's why I asked about wood or aluminum.
Okay. Any follow-ups?
Thank you.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any other questions?
We had a motion. Who made the motion? I don't have
I
any.
thought I made the motion. I'm making the motion.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, you have your direction there. Items to be considered at future meetings: 1, a water distribution master plan in September, and 2, city signs in September and October. Like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
like to call the Finance and Administration Committee meeting to order. Let the minute taker note that the same people are here present. Want to make a motion to approve the minutes of April 28th, 2022.
Well,
Second.
Any objections? All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Next, report and recommendation, TIF funding request 855 Lively, and I believe Mr. Wilson has a presentation on this.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, I had to pull the slides up there. So yes, before you this evening, we have a TIF funding request for the property located at 855 Lively, formerly occupied by Hard Surface Finishers. If you go through, this is an aerial of the property, zoomed in. And then this is a further aerial, so you can see it's kind of in the northern part of the existing Thorndale TIF district. And so since this is in a TIF district, obviously, this is why it is TIF eligible for funding. So the applicant is RKC Cleaners. They're actually behind me here over my right shoulder this evening. So they're currently located in Elk Grove. They have a need to expand their business, and they're unable to do so at their current location. They were looking at a couple different locations. The one in Wooddale was interesting to them, so they came in, met with staff, myself and Manager Murnus on a number of occasions, and got to the point where they were able to submit their TIF application. A little bit of history on RKC. In 2006, they started a traditional dry cleaning facility. Moving on to the 13, they opened their commercial laundry facility, doing linens, sheets, things of that nature in Elk Grove. Here we are in 2022, needing to expand, looking to open a new facility. Hopefully, if all goes well, we can put 2023 open expanded business in Wooddale. The project again is at 855 Lively. They're looking to acquire that property for around $3.2 million, and then do improvements and renovations to the site. So 1.3 million was the original TIF proposal to renovate and modernize the existing facilities. Looking to do approximately a $650,000 expansion on the northeast corner of the property. If we go back, there's already a pad there for a loading dock, so they would just be enclosing that corner. And then a little over 3.6 million in new equipment for the expansion of their business. So a total investment of a little over $9 million into that property and into the Wooddale community infrastructure. As well, they have 85 current employees, and they're estimated to generate an additional 50 jobs into Wooddale with this expansion at the 855 Lively property. The TIF request, it's all on a funding gap. So they did submit their TIF budget, their proposed, like I said, budget of all spending, and then uses, so funding and sources and funding schedule to us. So they originally had a 1.352 million funding gap, which is what their TIF ask was. Since the time they submitted it, I'm sure we've all heard the infamous phrase supply chain issues and inflation. They have gone in and done some deeper investigation on some things, specifically the roof for the property. And due to the deeper investigation, the supply chain issues, and some inflation, the roofing contractor is expecting it to be approximately an additional $200,000. So they have cordially asked to increase the TIF ask to 1.552 million. We have ran that new number by SB Friedman and Ice Miller. All the costs are still eligible, all of the costs are still appropriate, and that new additional monies will not have a deleterious effect on the project. Kind of past the manager, and I think, like I said, from SB Friedman, Ice Miller, myself, and Mr. Murnus, none of us felt that was really out of the realm of reasonability, given the scope of the project and the current construction environment. Relative to the analysis, SB Friedman's looked at their budget, eligible costs. They find that all costs are eligible and reasonable. Ice Miller, the TIF attorney, they're also working on the RDA. They said the costs are eligible and allowable, which are two big things. Both the attorney and the TIF consultant say that the costs are eligible. One says they're reasonable, one says they're allowable. Those are really the three check boxes we have to go through. Ice Miller, SB Freeman, and myself, we've been working on the RDA to get that in the packet tomorrow for all of you to review. Staff, project's positive for the city. The property's been vacant for some time, so we revitalized that project. Bring in a great company, RKC. And then also funding is available for the project through the TIF increment. This is in the Thorndale TIF. So there's money there. There's also increment coming in on an annual basis, so this will not be a burden to the TIF district itself. Next steps, in theory, we approved the TIF funding request tonight. We'll go to work and get the required items for next week, which is the RDA, the redevelopment agreement. We'll pass that along to RKCs to have their attorneys begin to look at it as well. And then we have the large user water and sewer rate tier, which we had mentioned a few months ago. That will come to you as well. There was a slight language change to the code, and then we would update the master fee schedule to include that rate as well. After we do all that, RKC acquires and renovates the property, and then RKC opens for business in Monday. That is all I have at this time.
Okay, thank you very much for that presentation. Just one question before I call on the other alderman. When, if this is approved tonight, when will they be fully moved in, are we expectation?
Yeah, it's my understanding, and they correct me if I'm wrong, but their current lease is up at the end of the year, so they will be looking to move in probably sometime December, very early next year.
Okay, and all the renovation, you'll be able to make all those renovations and things? Okay, perfect. Okay, Alderman Sismarski.
You need to make a motion there, right?
No.
Make a motion to accept the TIF funding request for 855 Lively at the new rate of 1.55.
Second.
Adjusted rate,
What is that amount? That was my quick.
155.
Okay. I didn't know the adjusted. Okay.
Yeah, it was 132 and I think 200.
So 1.552 million.
I'll second the motion. Alderman Messina, did you have a question?
I just wanted a confirmation on the new number. I knew it was 1.3. I didn't catch the new number, so we're good.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? Okay, welcome to Wooddale.
You gotta,
Look forward to having you.
Peter, you gotta do a roll call.
I'm going to do that.
It's gotta actually be approved by, before you welcome anybody.
Let's take a roll call, please.
Alderman Currielli,
Yes.
Alderman Jacobs,
Yes.
Alderman Ames,
Yes.
Alderman Woods,
Yes.
Alderman Messina,
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski.
Yes.
That passes. Welcome to Wooddale. With that, any items to be considered for future meetings? Okay, with that there being none, I make a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.